Alright, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Under the Radar, and now it's time for us to go into the second half of what happened at the Hell in a Cell from Sacramento, California. And the next match to take place during this said pay-per-view would feature the OC going one-on-one against the Viking Raiders and the quilted quicker picker-upper himself, Braun Strowman. And after the one-on-one confrontation that he had with Tyson Fury on the Primo Premier edition of SmackDown on Friday nights on Fox, do you think Braun Strowman would be in the mood? Why, yes he would. Because during this match, even though the OC was in full force, Braun Strowman did not care and would dominate the better portions of this match by not only doing shoulder rushes on the outside of the ring, running around like a makeshift bus on a San Francisco open road, taking out all of the members of the OC, only until AJ Styles would get his revenge by doing a chop block to the big man after he would miss a move in the corner to AJ Styles, and then would go for a calf killer that would get broken up by the members of the Viking Raiders. But ultimately, this match would come to an emphatic end after Braun Strowman, who felt no effect whatsoever from that calf killer, would get prepared to try to take out AJ Styles with a running power slam, only for the OC members to come into the ring, beat the crap out of Braun Strowman, for the referee to have no choice but to call for a DQ finish, and for this match to end in favor of the Viking Raiders and their new Viking member of Braun Strowman. And funny enough, I always thought that Braun Strowman was a Viking when he had his new haircut style when they first changed the set over for Monday Night Raw, and yeah, he now teams up with some Vikings. Ironic? I think not. But meanwhile, after the match was over, the Viking Raiders, not satisfied with the way that they won, would then try to take out Gallows and Anderson with two tandem suicide dives to the outside of the ring, and then would go back in to try to take out AJ Styles, only for him to get taken out with a phenomenal forearm and him being Ivar during this said moment, only for AJ Styles to switch gears and go directly after Braun Strowman, trying to take him out with a forearm himself, only for Braun Strowman to switch things up by hitting him with a hellacious right hand right to the jaw of AJ Styles mid-flight, for AJ to get knocked stupid, for the members of the OC to come out and say, yeah, you're at Hell in a Cell. Today's the 6th of October. You're still the United States champion, and just try to get him coherent enough to try to get him out of here, only for AJ Styles to try to hold up the championship and to still be on spaghetti legs after that right hand. And does this mean there's gonna be some form of boxing match of some type in WWE between Tyson Fury and Braun Strowman with that right hand? Yes, it is. Yes, it is. And with a potential brawl for all that will take place in the near future between Tyson Fury and Braun Strowman, the next match to take place on this said card would take place backstage, with Tamina running into the 24/7 champion herself, Carmella, for Carmella to actually get taken out by Tamina while the Street Profits tried to give their predictions for Hell in a Cell, and then for Tyler Breeze to run into Tamina and for Tamina to take him out. Now, the real question behind this, besides the fact of how did Carmella lose that said championship so easily, is the fact of what in the world was Tyler Breeze doing backstage at a pay-per-view for the main roster of WWE when he was in NXT? The plot thickens. But either way, R-Truth and Carmella would be on the hunt for the championship and go in a he went that away, where the Street Profits would point in two separate directions to try to help them get the championship when they clearly went right. And they, meaning Tamina, who went right to go out of there with the championship belt. Great direction skills there, Street Profit. great direction skills. By the way, how that tag team championship match went with you guys in the Undisputed Era? Oh yeah, you lost. Direction skills from losers, folks. Anyway, besides that little moment backstage, folks, the next match that will take place on this card would be none other than Chad Gable going one-on-one against King Corbin. And before the match could begin, every short joke in the world that Baron Corbin could throw, he threw at Chad Gable and would call him Shorty Gable from now on, which sounds like some form of rap name you would hear on the streets nowadays. And does Gable appreciate the new name he was given? No! It would show it during this said match by not only trying to pick the ankle, almost like Kurt Angle during this match of Braun Strowman, and would even hit it a rolling chaos during this match. But ultimately, this match will come to an emphatic end after none other than Baron Corbin would try to go for another clothesline, only for him to suffer the wrath of the Monday Night Special, for Baron Corbin to get embarrassed, and for the ring announcer to call none other than Chad Gable Shorty Gable when he won the match, which Michael Cole would say was disrespectful and he should be fired for it. But then again, you know, Baron Corbin is the king of the ring and what he says goes. And after the match was over backstage, Chad Gable would end up relevating in his win and relishing the fact that he won this said match, and would say that now Baron Corbin realizes that for once he came up short. And before he could even celebrate himself any further, Baron Corbin from out of nowhere would beat the living daylights flag tag out of Chad Gable backstage, throwing him into a garbage can and nearly throwing him down the stairs, almost the same way that Mick Foley got thrown down the stairs in Madison Square Garden from Randy Orton at the whole thing with Evolution trying to take him on at WrestleMania 20. Yeah. You know, history repeating itself, folks, and is Chad Gable okay? We don't know. And after that went down backstage, the next thing to take place backstage would feature R-Truth actually taking on Funaki in a makeshift Kung Fu, almost Karate Kid pose-off, only for Carmella to super kick Tamina in the face with the 24/7 championship on the line for R-Truth to pin Tamina to become a 20-time, hear this folks, 20-time 48/7, 747 European TV champion via pinfall. And that's what R-Truth calls it, and along with that folks, he is only 9 reigns away from tying Raven's record for the most amount of championships won for the Hardcore Championship. And if he's able to beat that mark folks, he would have the most reigns with a single championship in WWE history. And we're not counting Edge because he had a combined total of 50, not 50 reigns with 1 championship. So yeah, he's making his way toward the history books, 1 silly pin in a false count anywhere environment at a time. And the next match to take place on this said pay-per-view, back inside the ring, would feature none other than Bayley going one-on-one against the Queen City herself, Charlotte Flair, for the SmackDown Women's Championship in the home state of Bayley. Cause I keep forgetting she's from San Jose, California, and they're in Sacramento, which the fans gave her a lot of hometown love to get through this match. But would it help her? A little bit. In the early goings of this match, when Bayley tried to take out the leg of one Charlotte Flair during this said contest, and then would try to do the figure 4 leg lock and would taunt her way by doing it, and that would come back to haunt her. Because even though she would try to win this match in a cheap way once again, and the referee would catch her because she would have both feet on the rope and would be almost at a 90-degree angle while trying to pin Charlotte. And while arguing with the referee, Charlotte would come back with a big boot, then would go for a chop block, and then apply the figure 8 leg lock like only she could, almost at a straight angle going upward like the House of Pain, for Bayley to have no choice but to tap out and for Charlotte to be a 10-time women's champion via pinfall. And would even joke backstage by saying that she looks to become a 16-time women's champion, and I got a feeling that's gonna happen somewhere around WrestleMania. I could be wrong, but I got a feeling it will. Really trying to approach her father's legacy in women's championship form. Woo! And I got a feeling she's gonna do it. So congratulations, Charlotte. And after the match was over, Bayley not happy with that, since she's trying to be a role model and bring the SmackDown women's division to new heights, would decide to take it out on the steel stairs, referees, and then would go into full pity party mode for the camera to zoom in to look at the shame in her eyes, which wasn't nice at all. And the next match to take place on this said pay-per-view would be the main event of the evening and the 42nd Hell in a Cell match to take place in over 22 years, which would feature none other than The Fiend going one-on-one against Seth Rollins, inside of Hell in a Cell for the Universal Studios of Orlando, Florida's championship. And during this match, it got violent, it got crazy, and it even featured Bray Wyatt, or should I say The Fiend. I hate to call him The Fiend Bray Wyatt like so many people do before, but it involved the mallet that was featured during the Firefly Funhouse that he decided to pull out. But before that could even happen with that sweet tooth mallet that he would take out, every single thing that Seth Rollins tried to do to The Fiend had no effect. It was almost like Seth Rollins was fighting against Jason Voorhees in any of the Friday the 13th films, because he hit him with just about, 11 different curb stomps, all leading into 1 counts. And he even curb stomped them on that giant oversized cartoon mallet on the outside of the ring to count for one of the 11 curb stomps that he did. And when all that failed, and while a red mist glowed over the Hell in a Cell, which I completely forgot to mention, folks, the cell was covered in a red light mist, which I'm surprised how the fans was able to see any form of action with those lights on, would then see Seth Rollins going to desperate measures mode by not only hitting The Fiend in the face with a steel chair, then getting a ladder, doing a concerto with the ladder with the steel chair, and still getting a 1 count, and then instead of going to get some form of weapon to shoot whatever the world The Fiend was, he would go into the makeshift underneath of the ring and decide to pull out a freaking tool case. Almost the same way that Kevin Nash did when he went one-on-one against Triple H at Bad Blood, or was it at Armageddon? I keep on forgetting which pay-per-view it was. Either way, just like they did, and then would decide to beat the bejesus out of The Fiend with the toolbox case. And when that didn't work, he would decide to go back to the Triple H playbook by not only hitting a pedigree, which we almost forgot to mention that happened during this match, but then would decide to pick up a sledgehammer while having a chair, a ladder, and a toolbox on his face. The referee, and this is the part of the night that I'll be honest with you folks at home, I got pissed, just like the people at the arena who were chanting BS and everything else after this happened, would then pick up the sledgehammer, tried to hit him, referee would say, "No, don't do it. This is not you. Don't do that, man. you gotta think about it. You're about to kill a man or something like that, he would tell him during all this altercation. For Seth Rollins to do it anyway, and for the referee to throw out the match saying that it was a DQ or stoppage? In Hell in a Cell? Not again! Not again, Maestro! Not again! Then this same thing happened last year inside of Hell in a Cell with Brock Lesnar interfering in the match, F5ing both opponents, and the referee calling it a stoppage due to the fact of what Brock Lesnar did inside Hell in a Cell. The same Hell in a Cell that has no rules, no disqualification, and the only way for the people to get beat during this match is by pinfall or submission. Mick Foley got thrown off the top of Hell in a Cell. The match still continued. Choke slam through the thing, dislocated his shoulder, tooth up his nose. Match still continued. Triple H backdropped him through Hell in a Cell while he was Cactus Jack, and he went through the ring and the match continued. And hell, you know what? Let's add the fact that Shane McMahon took an elbow drop with a steel chair across his throat, and the match still continued inside of Satan's structure. But yet, when Brock Lobster interferes, F5s people and rips the doors off the hinges, that's what calls the match. And then now, because somebody tries to pull a Roswell murder on somebody inside the cell, then the match ends. Are you kidding me? Are you serious? Are you kidding me? And if you think I'm a little bit upset about it, then go watch the makeshift review for Hell in a Cell that Johnny from New Legacy Inc. will have for it, and yeah, he's more upset about it than I am. But after all of that will go down with the referee calling the match, raising the Hell in a Cell, and Seth Rollins talking smack saying, "You made me do it, you made me do it," the Fiend would get back to his feet and do a mandible claw to Seth Metal after the match was over for the fans to chant, "Restart the match, restart the match," for the mandible claw to take place to the outside of the ring, for the Fiend to take off the covering off the mat, for him to hit Seth Metal on the concrete with the Sister Abigail, continued the mandible claw so much it would cause Seth Rollins to bleed eternally, for the lights to go out, the Fiend to show up on stage, and for the laughter to go throughout the entire arena as a little bit of a ha-ha to the fans there at Sacramento, for the pay-per-view to end in a very, and I do mean very, disappointing way for this year. Ah man, 2 years in a row involving the Universal Studios of Orlando, Florida's championship, you would see a match end in a no contest. I think that belt is bad luck when it comes to Hell in a Cell. I really, really do. But besides my anger, folks, join us next time when we go into your homes for a pay-per-view, because we're completely skipping over Crown Jewel and jumping directly into the 33rd and a third Survivor Series that will take place on November 24th of 2019 from the Allstate Arena in Rosemont, Illinois. See, I would have said Chicago, but it's starting to piss off the Rosemont fans out there, so Rosemont, Illinois. And I can't wait to see the pay-per-view because it takes place one day after my birthday, and we may review War Games along with it for a post-birthday treat. Who knows? But with that to look forward to in the near future, folks, I think it's time for us to go grab a glass of water, and when we return, we'll be back with more Radar Madness as Under the Radar continues right after this. So don't get lost in that madness and stay tuned.